Making money. Money has a mystery to it. My own money-making journey started as a preteen picking raspberries for .07 a pint, earning about $1.25 a day. I was once offered a job paying the princely sum of $10 a day but turned it down. It involved pumping gas and dealing with people. Never cared for dealing with people and have always preferred to be paid less than having to deal with the public. My first real job was taken on when I turned 15 and left school. The job was at a meat processing plant. I wanted to start when I was 14, but this was not allowed. Never did understand why. I had been working for the last 5 years already, at least during the summer holidays, at the neighbor's farm. It was boring sitting in school, waiting for the few remaining months to pass. Some of my peers went on to get what was called a higher education. Never figured that out either. How is one form of education higher than another? If one had to make money sooner or later, seemed the sooner one got started, the better. When I was 17, my mother suggested I buy a house. I was making the princely sum of £12 a week, at the time. I decided that made no sense. What would a 17-year-old do with a house? Making money meant working hard, at least in my world. Work and the expenditure of energy was indelibly linked in my brain. I never learned the idea or value of letting money work for you. After a couple of years learning the trade, I was doing piecework as a meat boner. A meat boner takes the bones out of beef carcasses. I got good at it and was at one time working 2 days a week, but earning what would have been a good week's pay. The other 5 days I spent in reading and doing some writing. This was when I got most of my own higher education. During my time, I looked at and rejected the idea of buying a Tim Hortons franchise for $40,000 or starting a $1 store, for a little less. But eventually, in my middle age, a friend got me to start a business. It seemed natural that some people had businesses and other people worked in these businesses. I was one of the people who worked. However, I did get into the antique business and did all right. Largely because rent had become so high, I also purchased a house. That opened my eyes to the investment side of making money. The house went up in value. I sold it and bought a bigger one. I was also going around auctions, buying old furniture, restoring it and selling at flea markets and through auctions. I tried MLM also, which was an interesting experience. It never seemed right to just make money without working. Work. The art of making money, in the abstract, began to interest me. I learned how governments made money by turning on printing presses and how banks created money by putting numbers in a ledger. In the modern age, they just enter the numbers into digital bank accounts. It started to dawn on me that working hard was not how smart people made money. I saw banks pour money into South American markets and then pull out to go into a tech boom, then into real estate. I witnessed so many booms and busts, with usually the innocent bystander, the middle class, footing the bill when things went south. Markets would rise, then die. Some people made fortunes and others lost them. Making money began to seem as if a whole lot of luck was involved. One had to guess, so it seemed, to what was going to become popular. One had to stay out in front of trends. Over time it became evident I was good at doing everything I put my mind to, but I was no good at making money, except the hard way. I never could put my mind to the task of getting rich. However, I could borrow other people's money, and this seemed like a way to cash in my many years of responsible living. Paying debt back was harder than anticipated. In the end, solvency required selling my home to pay off the accumulated debt. With a constant round of booms and busts, it was natural to question if our monetary system worked as well as it ought. I saw people needing jobs who could not work, because businesses could not expand production. Recessions occurred because people could not purchase goods and services. Markets were slack because too few persons were working. Unemployment was so high people could not afford to buy goods and services, which would have increased the need for more employees. It was a circular conundrum, and at the center of this conundrum were banks. Banks were at the heart of the making money machine, and yet sometimes even banks were unable to make money. Banks knew how to make profits, they made record profits every quarter without fail, but banks did not know how to make money. Because banks could not make money, it was hard for businesses to start and hard to expand businesses. It was hard to get money to borrow, and it was hard even for governments to stimulate the economy. When banks could not make money, there was no money and the economy seemed to stop working. Bill, who needed the roof of his house fixed, could not hire Lucy to fix his roof because he had no money. Bill had no money because Lucy could not hire Bill to fix her plumbing. Lucy had no money either. Bill could have fixed Lucy's leaky pipes and Lucy could have fixed Bill's roof, but the bank said they could not make money on the loan, and so long as they could not make money, no one was going to make money. Money is an asset owned by banks, and bank assets, like all assets, are always at risk of being lost. Money used to be made out of gold and silver, and many people would like to see this happen again. At present, money is a bank account. Banks create money by creating accounts. These accounts are a wholly owned bank asset. Banks make money by creating accounts, an asset. Money is a service offered by banks. When people do not buy this service, the banks do not create money. When banks change too much for the service, people do not buy money, and none is produced. Making money is no different than selling insurance. If people cannot afford it, you cannot sell it. This was seen in the Great Depression and in 2009. No matter how cheap banks offered their service, there were very few buyers. When we buy money, we go to the bank and ask for a supply of the service they call an account. The bank sells us a supply as a positive account balance, and charges us interest. The interest represents the bank's profit, which is equal to the markup on their product. Most of us can no longer afford to buy money, even when the markup is low. The repayment of debt is called inflation. Inflation destroys the value of currency. After too much inflation, the product banks sell is no longer worth it. Banks, by creating money, destroy the value of the product. Banks provide a service and charge for it, but the charge destroys the value of what they sell, through inflation. But if banks make money, why can't Bill and Lucy make their own money? Why must we buy money from a bank just to be able to do business? When banks make money, all they do is put numbers in an account. Obviously, this is not actual money. Bank accounts are as a tradable commodity. Anyone who is willing can trade the numbers in their account for real goods and services. When stated in this way, it is easy to see why bank products produce inflation. People are claiming real goods and services without producing anything of equal value. If banks can produce a marketable or tradable product that operates as a unit of exchange, or standardized product by which all other products and services can be measured by or equated to, why can't the actual producers of goods and services do this? Bill and his friends could create a unit of account to serve as a measure of value, to facilitate exchanges. A bank is simply a set of accounts, or what accountants call a ledger. When a business assigns a set of accounts to a ledger, they create a bank. The various departments of the business can exchange goods and services with one another simply by altering the credits and debits in the ledger. Governments issue a paper currency in multiples of each other, according to the system in use by most nations. Each member of a nation is an account holder. But the account balances are held as cash. Any group can do the same thing. Create a charitable, not-for-profit institution for the elimination of debt. Each member represents an account and a commercial entity. This entity can donate commercial property to the charitable not-for-profit. The charity issues a credit for the assets transferred. These credits are represented as preferred shares. As a currency, preferred share is contracted to prefers and designated by the symbol, pronounced ER. Members work for the charitable not-for-profit or each other and are credited for the work they do, paid at an established rate, equal to what is called a living wage. Cash is put in a trust account and used to pay down member debt. Donated currency is issued as preferred shares to the donor. Preferred shares are a claim on the equity of the charity. If Bill has 300 preferred share, he has 300 units of value. Charitable exchanges invests assets to start businesses. These commercial establishments are similar to a cooperative but under the aegis of a commercial sector. Bulk buying is a halfway point between being a consumer and being a business owner. A charitable exchange buys a side of beef using cash or prefers. Members processes the side and is paid in prefers. Those who work get paid in prefers. Earned income. When the beef is prepared, it is sold at a Dutch, declining, auction. Bidding starts off high. First bid buys whatever cut is being sold, then the bidding resumes on the next item. Profits help offset the costs of the next purchase. Members can be added, and other products and services offered. This is a way to move the charity towards a full-scale complex economy.